#InfoLection 2024.
Hi, I'm Keith Marzullo. I'm the Dean of the College of Information. Before coming here, I was working in the White House with the Office of Science Technology Policy. As the Dean of the iSchool, I don't care about the registration, the party registration, the voting patterns of the people who work in the college. I'm not going to tell you to vote for, but if you're a citizen, I am going to urge you to vote. This kind of discretion is mandatory for almost all federal employees. This is regulated by a law called the Hatch Act. This has nothing to do with escape hatches. It's named after the person who sponsored the bill, then Senator Carl Hatch of New Mexico. The law prohibits any federal employee on the job to engage in political activities. The Hatch Act was created during the Great Depression in the 1930s, and the president at the time, Franklin Roosevelt, created an alphabet soup of programs to try to address the Great Depression, including the Works Progress Administration, or the WPA. WPA was a huge program. At its peak employment in 1936, it employed over 3.3 million men and women who were otherwise unemployed. It gave them paying jobs. So in the 1938 midterms elections, let me get these numbers right. There were accusations that Democratic politicians were handing out WPA administrator appointments in return for political purposes. There was a Senate investigation. The results were inconclusive. But the public was motivated to try to stop this kind of abuse. And so Senator Hatch, who was a Democrat, introduced the Hatch Act. This bill passed the House with bipartisan support. 82 of 257 Democrats voted for the bill, as did 157 of 167 Republicans. Yes, this was a very different time in politics. You may have heard of Hatch Act violations. One occurred in 2018 when White House Counselor Kellyanne Conway voiced opposition to a Democratic candidate on Fox and Friends. Another just occurred this September when U.S. Secretary of the Navy Carlos Del Toro made statements about presidential candidates on BBC News Sunday. Del Toro actually self-reported this. Usually warnings from the Office of Special Counsel are sufficient to remind officials to behave better. You may be hearing more about the Hatch Act in coming months, so now you know what's being talked about. It's all about ensuring that if a federal employee wishes to exercise their legal right to engage in political activities, they must do so outside of their duties, not using their official title, and not using federal resources. And in the meantime, if you're a citizen, don't forget to vote. Thank you.
#InfoLection 2024.